Hello, world. I'm Willie Montague, and this is Americana. And here at Americana, not the script they feed you, not the headlines they twist, we're here to dig deeper. We uncover the truth that they hope you miss. If you're done with the spin and hungry for real, you found the right place. So don't go anywhere. This is Americana. All right, everyone, we have some real hot topics today, and I hate that we even have to go this route, but one of the topics is white Christian men the enemy? Then China bans online preaching and prayer, and Christianity. What is happening on the West Side? It is under siege. But we're going to bring it all together with Pastor Craig Hagin, a man of faith and courage. We have a lot coming up on today's episode, but before we get started, drum roll, it's time for Willie's Take. All right, everyone, it's Friday, and there has been an echo of silence. They call it progress, but the voice are silent. They call it tolerance, but faith is mocked. They call it freedom, but prayer is banned. This isn't about fairness, it's about control. It's not all religion, it's Christianity, because Christianity won't bow, and that makes it dangerous. The real question is simple. Will Christians stand or stay silent? I am joined today on Americana by Pastor Craig Hagin, Associate Pastor of Rhema Bible College, All Church, and at Bible College in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. And we're getting ready to get into a hot topic. Is white Christian men the enemy? Welcome to Americana, Pastor Hagin.
Thanks, Willie. It's so good to be with you.
All right. So, it is definitely the former First Lady. Former First Lady Hillary Clinton just declared that white Christian men are the problem in America. This comes after a growing trend of political voices frame Christians as an extremist. Poll shows that over 60% of Americans still identify as Christian. Before we get to this, Pastor Craig, I want to play a clip of exactly what former First Lady Hillary Clinton said.
Special as a country. And the idea that you could turn the clock back and try to recreate a world that never was, dominated by, let's say it, white men of a certain persuasion, a certain religion, a certain point of view, a certain ideology, special as a country.
Woo! Well, Hillary had a lot to say. What do you have to say, Pastor Hagin, about her blaming white Christian men for being the problem in America?
Well, I think it's kind of funny because I happen to know some people who would always go to prayer breakfasts when her husband was president. And he identified as a white Christian male. In fact, his Baptist pastor, he was very special to him. So is she talking about her husband? Or who is she talking about?
And that's a good point, because supposedly they are Christians, so who is he talking about? But this is good, because I want to now turn around and say what Malcolm X actually said about this. If we can put up what Malcolm X had stated. And Malcolm X made a good point, because he indeed said that it is the white liberal that is the problem in America, and also is the worst enemy of America and to blacks. And so it seems like she has the narrative twisted. So, Pastor Hagin, why is Christianity being a scapegoat in the U.S. politics today? Why is so many people coming after Christianity?
Well, I think it's really hard to actually read the first book of the Bible and be a Christian and be a part of the woke Democrat Party today. The first book of the Bible, Genesis, in Genesis chapter 1, introduces a family. There's only two genders,
Amen.
Male and female, and male was designed to cohabitate with female. So there was no transgender. There was no other kind of situations like that. And so really they're coming against a family unit. And if you're a Christian, yes,
I agree with that. When we talk about labeling, because this is what Hillary Clinton is doing, she's labeling Christians as the problem, or she's labeling white Christian men as the problem, but really it's trying to target Christians overall. So will this be a continuation of an open door to persecution? Because we've seen, I just was reading, where 7,000 Nigerians have been murdered. Christian Nigerians have been murdered in the first 220 days of 2025. So do you think this kind of language in the United States is opening the door for further persecution?
Yes, in fact, I was in Nigeria for 3 weeks this summer, and right during some of this situation is happening, and it's happening mainly in the northern part of Nigeria, which is primarily Muslim. And it seems this nation, at least the Democrat Party, has tended to kind of embrace the Muslim heritage. And obviously, the Muslim heritage do not like Christians. And so I think that, there's persecution among the Christians. And, they're trying to erase history, I guess, because history actually shows, because if you go like that clip a little further, he talks about a perfect union that our very first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln, talked about. And in that perfect union, he was referring to the Southern Democrats who had slaves who also identified themselves as white Christian male. So really, if we go back in history, it was the Democrats and not the Republicans the ones that were causing division among the races.
So then I have a question with that, since you said, because there is a division that comes in. So with that, because we want to be, and we spoke about this, and I know, of course, you heard of it and all that's going on. Who hasn't by now about the assassination of Charlie Kirk? So with that, how should believers respond without falling into a culture war trap? Like, what should we do? What is the response? Because with everyone watching, and this is the reason I want to even have this show today with you up here, because I feel like we get so far away from just talking about, especially what matters to me, which is my faith, but I want people to hear this. What should we do and how should we respond in cases like this?
Well, first of all, if you listen to Charlie Kirk, and obviously you can't mention the name Charlie Kirk without mentioning Christ. We all saw the memorial service. But really, we should be one nation under God together. And what happens a lot of times is we see sound bites not taken in context, and then somebody runs with them and saying this person's trying to be divisive or whatever. But, really, even if someone doesn't agree with my politics, my religion, or my football team, I still love them.
Yes.
Because God still loves them. And we should try to live in, harmony. My grandfather always said, we can disagree without being disagreeable.
I like that.
And so, but I do think there has been a trend since Charlie Kirk died, turning more toward Christianity.
Yes.
No matter what your race happens to be.
Now this is a good segue into this. In about 30 seconds or so before we go on our first commercial break, what message does this send to young Christians in America when we hear the rhetoric that Hillary Clinton said, when you have who also, she's not declaring she's a Muslim. So in about 30 seconds, what does this send? What message does it send to young Christians?
Well, to me, I'm not really a young Christian, I guess, But to me, it's saying that the Democrat Party is trying to create a division among the races, which is anti what Charlie Kirk tried to do. And so that would sway me away from the Democrat Party if I happen to be a younger Christian.
All right. Well, we're getting ready to take don't go anywhere, Pastor Hagin. We're getting ready to take a quick commercial break, so don't move out there. We'll be right back, and we're getting ready to break down China, the bans on online preaching and prayer. You are watching Americana. All right. Hello, social media family. You have made it with us this far. You are now on our commercial break. Thank you so much for staying with us. And don't forget to follow us on all platforms. And remember, you can catch us Monday through Friday right here at 6:30 p.m. on Comcast, Xfinity, channel 1623. But, of course, on this Good Friday, I have a question for you. Do you believe Christianity is under attack? And if so, why? Leave your answers and your thoughts in the comment section below, and let's get back to the show. All right, everyone, welcome back. You have been watching Americana, and I am your host, Willie Montague. So, China has officially banned online preaching and prayer, tightening its already iron grip on religious expression with nearly 100 million Christians in China. The Chinese Communist Party is cracking down on any faith not fully controlled by the state. This isn't just censorship, you guys. It's a battle for souls in the digital age. Pastor Hagin, what does this ban reveal about China's fear of Christianity, really the fear of just Christ, period? What does this reveal?
Well, back in 2012, I visited China, and we had a school there. And from that point to now, there's been a tighter grip on Christianity and all religions. In fact, they're very concerned when you band together behind any kind of situation. But I did find out that our online resources are still available right now in China. And so if you're in China, you can watch my grandfather preach to you in Chinese. You can read some of our Chinese material. So we're still up. But there is a very much concern, and if you read all the information about the ban, they're very concerned about the young people converting to Christianity. Because, see, it's the young people that's going to change the nation. And that's what Charlie Kirk knew here in America.
Yes.
That's why he tried to go after the young people. And the Chinese government, the reason they're banning Christianity is because the young Chinese men and women are thinking, maybe I want to turn to this Christianity. And I'm sure the Charlie Kirk Memorial, if they were able to watch it, just helped us reach them more with the gospel.
Now, we'll say this with this part going in, because this is important. I'm glad that you mentioned that there is materials out there from Rhema to be able to steal in Chinese. But could America, not under this current administration, but could America, because after these next 3 years, we're facing some things, could we see some of the similar restrictions with these new hate speech laws that's coming out?
Yeah, then that's a huge concern. So when I was in China, that was November of 2012, and Xi Jinping was being appointed the new leader. And so I was watching one of the only English stations, happened to be CNN, and they said, we're going to, after the break, we're going to examine Xi Jinping and his life story. So they came out from the break, and my TV went black. And then after a few minutes after the program aired, it came back on. And these kind of things could happen in America if we don't take some kind of control. Because, you know, right now, obviously with the whole Jimmy Kimmel thing, people are griping about, well, we're controlling the FCC at the Republican Party. Well, what happens if another party controls the FCC and they decide to just shut down any kind of rhetoric that they do not like?
And that's true, you because we've seen that with before President Trump got in office, how it was so restricting of Christian. And I want to say this, and then I want you to go ahead because I know we were just talking about it, and I geared up about this. But why does it seem that out of all faiths, Christianity is like the number one thing? People say they don't believe, it's a sky daddy, it's all these different things. And if God doesn't exist, if this is fake, if we're just out here just dizzy, basically, why is it being fought against so hard if what we believe is not real? Why do you think that? I know I'm just taking a little side note here because I just want to answer that because I want people that's listening to really get a grasp of this, of why people fight so hard.
I think it's all about control. As Christians, our lifestyle is based around Jesus Christ. And really, no matter what the government says, we're going to do what Jesus says. And so what they want is to be able to control us. And so in order to be able to control us, they try to tell us that our God is not real. But, you know, a true Christian doesn't stand for that. And we know that those kind of things are going to happen in the end times.
Yes.
Because we've read the Bible. You know, and so they think they're being sneaky. All they're doing is fulfilling prophecy.
Amen.
But we know if you fulfill prophecy, it's going to get worse for Christians. So, I mean, that's what's going to happen. And so we should experience, you know, be happy that we are in a place to have 100 million people watch the gospel being proclaimed at this memorial service, because it might not happen forever.
And that is very true. And so with that, because as we boarded was talking about China, and we're getting ready to go into our last segment here, Christianity right now in the West is under siege. And from lawsuits against prayer at public events to schools disciplining students from quoting the Bible, Christianity in the West is being pushed out of public square. In the U.S., nearly 1 in 3 young adults now claim no religion at all. And I know, I went to Rhema, and I know, for those that know Rhema Bible College, but in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, but I went to Rhema, and of course I was like 18, 19 at the time, so it's filled with young people. So with this, the question is freedom of religion being rewritten into freedom from religion? What are you seeing right now in the West, since, you know, Rhema is really just big, it draws in a lot of young people? What are you seeing?
Yeah, first of all, let me say this about our current student body. We have the youngest student body ever, and I believe they're on they're more on fire than whenever you were in school. and so it seems the young Christians are on fire, and they're willing to fight for their right to preach the gospel. But yes, Christianity is under attack because the devil knows that his time is short. And so, you know, it's become unpopular to be a Christian. But here's something else. One of the things that I feel I'm called to is to find people, Christians, to run for public office.
Yes.
Because for so many years, we've taken the Christians out of politics because of so-called separation of church and state, which is not in any of our documents.
Yeah. Explain
but
that
a letter.
actually, Pastor Hagin. Excuse me, but just explain that, because so many people come separation of church, separate the church and state, and it bogs my mind how many people just don't simply research and read. So that's a good segue into that. Just explain what that actually was and what that means for us.
Actually, so that was a letter written to a church, or I think the Methodist Church. Was it Jefferson that wrote the letter, I believe?
Yep.
Thomas Jefferson wrote the letter. And basically, it was saying that the state needs to stay out of the church's business, not the other way around. But that is it's not in the Declaration of Independence, it's not in the Constitution, and it's not law in America. There is no law saying separation of church and state. But the idea was the state needs to stay out of the church's business.
Yes.
And let the church be the church. Because we were founded, this country, on freedom of religion.
Yes.
And that's what the idea is. And so, because so many Christians have stayed out of politics, now we have a bunch of left-leaning people that are pushing prayer out of schools, that are pushing prayer out of the public square, that want to take down the 10 Commandments from anywhere they display them.
Yes.
And so we need to get, or we are getting, I will say, more conservative Christians into office, and right now, in my own opinion, if you're a conservative Christian, you have to be part of the Republican Party, because you will not fit in the Democrat Party, because they'll ostracize you.
Yep.
And they'll tell you, there's only one Democrat right now that's actually pushed against the Democrat Party, and that's Sean Fetterman.
Yeah.
For the most part, we haven't done it.
And it's alarming though, just how many people fight against the faith, what's going on in Western culture, because we need it. But, you stub your toe and people say, oh God, or, it's there. The Creator is there. Well, that's it for today. I thank you so much, Pastor Hagin, for being with us on Americana. I definitely have to have you come back. This is a topic we need to continue to have that conversation. You guys, it is Friday. So that is a wrap for this week. Thank you so much for tuning into Americana. We'll be back on Monday, same time, same place, right here, only on AFRO TV. Until then, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep showing up. Have an awesome weekend, and God bless you.